Hello, and welcome to episode 320 of the Casual Try Hard podcast. I'm Brian,
And I'm James.
and today we're gonna try to finish off the last of the uh Tarkir Dragonstorm cards. Starting with multicolor.
Yep, the last 2 weeks we've been kind of working our way through the list. We got all the single colors out of the way. We're moving on to multicolor, a couple colorless cards, and then maybe some cycles.
Maybe
Hopefully
some
some cycles. We'll see what happens.
Hopefully.
Yep.
So if you have, hopefully we're gonna be done with single card evaluation soon. So if you have show ideas or things you want us to talk about, please reach out to us. Facebook, Discord, Twitter. X gonna give it to you. Blue Sky.
Blue Sky.
Email. All those links are in the description. So go say hey and let us know what we should talk about.
Yeah, hit us up.
You are the boss.
That's right. If there's any kind of specific episode ideas you want, or just general what you want out of the show, like Brian said, all those links are down below. If you're looking to support the show, there's a couple ways you can do it. The first is our TCG player affiliate link, CasualTryHard.com/TCG. Surf on over there, do whatever magic shopping you're going to do, support the show at the same time. Doesn't cost you anything extra, really helps us out, so we would appreciate that. If you want to support us more directly, patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG is where you can do that. Patrons get access to my show notes, so you get kind of a sneak peek about what we're going to be talking about. Patrons also get about another hour of content out of us every week in the form of our unshow. We're old, our equipment sometimes doesn't work, and we always just need to catch up. So we spend about an hour doing that before we record every week, and we also record that and spit it out for our patrons. It's completely unedited, unscripted, anything. We never know what we're going to talk about on the pre-show, the unshow, and you also get to listen to all the mistakes. So if that sounds interesting to you, or like I said, if you just want to support the show, patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG.
Yeah. So, all right, let us do some multicolored cards.
Sure.
So first up, we have... Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, this one came from Discord. So when we do these
all
episodes...
Out of salt.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead. We're just killing it here.
Yeah, I know, right?
If you want to hear all the mistakes, just listen to the regular show.
Listen to the episode. Just as kind of a refresher, we ask for cards from you guys that you guys think are interesting, and then I throw some that I think are interesting, and Brian throws in some that he thinks are interesting. So that's how I get my list. And
gotcha.
I just wanted to say this was one from Discord. It's kind of a cool card.
So, yeah, go ahead. We'll let you go and do this one.
Okay.
This is for me.
This is All Out Assault, 2 and Mardu, so red, white, black. It's enchantment. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and have Death Touch. And when this enchantment enters, if it's your main phase, there is an additional combat phase after this phase, followed by an additional main phase. When you attack this turn, untap each creature you control.
So the wording is a nightmare.
Yeah, it's awkward.
So Ellis White pointed this out on Limited Resources. They worded it this way so you could cast it in your first main phase.
Okay, unlike, it Morag?
Yeah, where if you did it in your first main phase, nothing happened.
Yeah.
You had to do it in your second main phase. So this is, as long as it's in your main phase, you get a combat phase, and then you go to a main phase.
Yep.
Which in this case would lead to another combat phase or whatever. You kind of go back to the original main phase. Making all your creatures a little bit bigger and like completely and totally unblockable is a problem. It's really good with the tokens.
Yeah.
Right, if you're little.
Plays well with Mobilize in the same colors.
I don't know like what shenanigans there are to get up with with this, because it's a permanent.
Yeah.
So
you could blink it.
We can blink it to get extra combats. I had mentioned that there was a Magic AIDS video where they were doing what was it, Glimpse Tomorrow, where they were hitting the the 6-mana deal 3 that like makes dragons on landfall.
Yep.
Like this is another like doesn't do the same thing, but like if you have ways to like cheat permanents into play
Mhm.
like that, like this is like a relentless assault that is a permanent.
Yeah.
So like any ways to cheat things like that could be useful. I don't know if it's like constructed level good. Like it really screams to me like go wide commander deck.
Yeah.
Right, you play this and now like you your things are bigger. Anything that gets blocked just like uh kills their stuff no matter the size.
Yeah.
And like you get to do it twice, so like they probably don't have a bunch of creatures left after the first attack.
Right.
Because like the problem with multiple combat step things is like if you have a 1/1 and they have a 3/3, or you attack and they block, you're down a 1/1.
Right.
Then you untap and your other 1/1 attacks and they block.
Yeah.
And
now you're down 2 1/1s.
And they still have their 3/3. This takes care of that.
Yeah.
Where you just get to get in.
I know you mentioned this being templated correctly so you could play it whenever, but you can't play it whenever because of the untap thing, right? You can't play this in your second main and then get another combat because your creatures are tapped from your first combat.
Oh my god. Well, no. When you next attack this turn, untap each creature you control. So you play it on your second main phase.
So this triggers beginning a combat, not declare attackers?
I think at the beginning of combat, you would untap.
Okay.
Let me
That's just
see if I
weird
can
though,
find,
because like if your creatures are tapped, you can't declare attackers to attack to trigger it.
Let me see if there is a. So let's look at Scryfall here. Do they have additional rulings? I was looking for like Oracle text or like ruling or something. But I think Gatherer. Okay.
That's where I was just going, was Gatherer.
They have no additional text. Not that there's ever been any discussion on any Magic card on Gatherer ever. I checked that. But I think that like when you, it should almost be like at the beginning of your next attack step, untap your creatures.
Yeah.
Not like when you attack, or when you next attack.
Yeah.
That is
kind of weird.
Yeah, but I think it works on either combat phase or either main phase, but I am not. That was my understanding, but I could like be wrong.
Yeah.
It's
just weird though, because like things that are like, forget about the rest of the card, just focus on that last sentence. Things that are templated like that only happen when you attack, not when you move to combat.
Mm-hmm.
It says when you next attack, and if you don't have any creatures to attack with, you wouldn't attack.
When you attack, this triggers from you declaring creatures as attackers. That's what attacks means. You tap your creatures, so basically vigilance. Oh. It says this person says it creates a delayed trigger that
like
triggers
Prized
on your
Amalgam?
next attack. I guess, yeah. When tells us it's a triggered ability. Your next attack this turn, the trigger condition, untap each creature. So, and to attack means to be declared as an attacker during the. I don't know.
I was just seeing if there was any anything in the comp rules update, and there's not.
Okay, apparently this card is crystal clear.
Apparently,
no notes.
None
Eh,
anywhere.
I mean, these effects haven't seen play like in competitive constructed.
Yeah.
They're typically the home of like casual and like commander stuff, but
Yeah.
like
So maybe
it
it
is
doesn't
a
really
good
matter.
effect. It is
Mhm.
a good effect in terms of like, especially if you're like Marduing and mobilizing, like it's
Yeah.
great.
What about like how is it costed fairly for this?
The the old ones were you like were four, like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So it's like right at that. It's like maybe one extra mana.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it's one extra mana that is in theory harder to cast. The other ones have all been like
Mhm.
mono red, but it does like pump your creatures and make them harder to block.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Is like +1/+1 and Death Touch is probably worth 2.5 for 3 mana,
Yeah. So
and
yeah,
then
it's.
this
I
on
think it's
top.
fair.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
That is all.
That
Moving
is
on.
all.
I think this next one is one of yours, so I'm not going to say
It's
anything.
mine. This is my my parade of uncommons. Auroral Procession is blue green for an instant. Return target card from your graveyard to your hand. This is a instant speed regrowth.
Yeah.
Um, they have been really careful to. We've got a lot of regrowth variants that are return a permanent,
Right.
return a creature, like they've not just been like return a card.
Yeah.
So like my first thought was like there are like think of like Lotus Field. There are times where it like recycles stuff from its
Mhm.
graveyard. Like this is just like a really good way to grab whatever spell you need from your graveyard
Yeah.
to like combo off with. So that was kind of my first thought was, oh, like we haven't had just like regrowth in a I don't is regrowth even in modern?
It is not. I don't believe it is.
So we kind of saw what an instant speed explore did that was blue and green. And not to say this is going to be as ubiquitous as growth spiral,
Right.
but
Regrowth was in
the
Modern Horizons, so
okay. But like we haven't had something like that in like Pioneer.
yeah.
So it could do some stuff where like you need to like loop a spell
Mhm.
or something. So
Also,
just
it
like
it still hits all of the permanents.
yeah, it still gets everything.
Yeah.
So just like if you're in the market for a regrowth, you have one in Pioneer, it's
Mhm.
instant speed, and like the fact that it gets spells is not something we have had access to in a long time.
Yeah. Now I know like Snapcaster already existed in Modern at least.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um and that let you hit the spells but didn't let you hit the permanents. Are there any spells we should be on the lookout for that are like decent? Like the cool thing about this is I guess Snapcaster was an instant, but you had to do it all at once. Like this you can split up.
Mm-hmm.
So like if you're I don't know, if you're a control deck and you want your counter spell back, you can do this preemptively
And get your counter spell
and get
without
your
having
counter
to
spell without
like when you have the extra 2 mana as
yeah,
opposed to having to have 4.
right.
Yeah, I know that like there I'd have to look and see how it's built, but there's a Bryant Cook, like one of the Lotus Field variants uh in Pioneer plays Balaged Recovery
Okay.
so that it can like loop Chandras.
Yeah.
You like play a Chandra uh and then like down ticket and like cat and then like I forget exactly how it works, but like you get 2 copies of the Balagid Recovery and you get like Balagid Recovery. Oh, it's like you play Chandra, you like double it, you get the 2 copies of Balagid Recovery.
Mm-hmm.
Then you like down tick the Chandra to like deal 6 damage.
Gotcha.
Then you use the one Balagid Recovery. This is like one less mana
Yeah.
than that. Not that like we need to be encouraging like that loopy nonsense, but
Yeah. The other thing that I was thinking was there are time walks that don't exile.
Mm-hmm.
And this lets you buy those back.
Oh, that's a good point, yeah. So, again, maybe we don't want to encourage Turbo Fog
Right.
as, like, a thing, but
Or turbo
it
turns.
also gets your fog back,
Yeah, that too. Yep.
whatever one you're missing. So,
Man,
okay.
is that twice in one set review series that we've talked about Turbo Fog?
Maybe. What was the other thing we talked about with Turbo Fog?
I don't remember. I feel like we just talked about it.
We
though.
talked
Yeah.
about fogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next up is another one for me. There's a lot for me here.
That's fine.
Awaken the Honored Dead
Mhm.
is black, green, blue for a saga. And its first chapter is destroy target non-land permanent. Second chapter is mill 3. And third chapter is you may discard a card. When you do, return target creature or land from your graveyard to your hand.
Mhm.
So, oh gosh, Binding of the Old Gods saw a lot of play.
Did.
It's the first chapter on this is Binding of the Old Gods, but for 1 less mana. Harder to cast, but like 1 less mana.
Yep.
So like just on like that first ability, it could see play. Like just sorcery speed, kill a thing.
Yeah,
But
the only thing that I would kind of counter that with is I think Binding of the Old Gods saw play because it went and got a land.
I was gonna say it ramped and like kind of gave you card advantage.
Yeah.
This doesn't do that.
Right.
Like this is like you have to trade a card in your hand for the card that you want to get back from your graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like not card advantage, which is like a knock on it, but just like kill anything is pretty good. I mean,
unless you're playing some kind of reanimator
Oh.
shenanigans.
Yeah, where you want cards in your graveyard.
Yeah. Like you want to land out of your graveyard and you want to put your fatty there.
Mm-hmm. So just like it is in the realm of Binding of the Old Gods, which saw play.
Mm-hmm.
We do have like Maelstrom Pulse in standard for reasons.
Yeah.
So like this is again like very, very Maelstrom Pulse adjacent.
Mm-hmm.
So like you probably need some value out of chapters 2 and 3.
Yeah.
To like kind of put it over the top, but it is like kind of at the edge. And I think also like a thing I need to keep in mind is that like I don't know where Keldheim was like in the rotation schedule, but like probably there were like when it first came out there were only like 5 sets in standard counting it.
Yeah.
Or maybe there were like 6, right? When this comes out there's 11, 12?
A lot.
So like standard's just way bigger, so like these kind of cards might have a harder time like pushing through just because you have a million different answers.
Yeah. What about like those roots decks?
Oh, like this would trigger the roots because you bring a card out of your graveyard?
Yeah, and it would let you rebuy your the nerd that flips everything into your.
Oh yeah, the one in the green 1/3.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. So maybe like there's like a home for like this with roots, because like that card simultaneously does stuff but also doesn't do anything.
Right.
Right, like you'll see like a deck where like you'll see a game where like the roots deck does like something absurd that is like unbeatable.
Yeah.
And then there are just times where like they play roots on turn 2 and then nothing happens and they just like get annihilated.
Yeah.
And like you don't remember the games where like they go like turn 2 roots and their opponent's like double monstrous rage kill you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna double monstrous rage and then I'm gonna fling this thing at you and you're gonna take 22. Yeah. Oh, neat, thanks. Okay, next game. You only remember the times that like roots is like, I just made like every power of plant from 1 to 22 like in this turn.
Yeah.
But like yeah, this could maybe help that. Because like it does give you like a way to kind of guarantee that your roots is going to trigger and hopefully buys you time.
Yeah, or it could find your roots, or I guess it couldn't find your roots, but it could, like I said, rebuy that nerd.
Yeah. All right. Next up,
this is Fangkeeper's Familiar. One black, green, blue for a 3/3 snake with flash. And when it enters, choose one. You can either gain 3 life and surveil 3, destroy target enchantment, or counter target creature spell.
It's kind of like Super Mystic Snake.
Super Mystic Snake? I don't know if I go Super Mystic Snake, because Mystic Snake is just counter target spell. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the creature spell is a little bit more limiting.
Yeah.
But you don't have to wait for them to cast a spell for it to be of some use
to actually
either.
do something. Yeah. So it's like, it's in that weird, again, it's like, this kind of looks like Mystic Snake. It is like a little different.
Yeah.
Right? But it is more where like Mystic Snake did one thing, counter a spell. This can do other things to, like you said, get more value out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like kind of like this feels like a Mystic Snake.
Yeah.
And like if the metagame is super creature heavy, then like the counter target creature spell becomes not an issue.
Right.
But if it's more spell based, then it does.
Yeah. How, I know this is going back a ways, but we talked about some of like the early Magic theory, like a few years ago.
Yeah.
How many cards is Surveil 3 worth?
Card and a half. Like, because Scry 2 is usually worth somewhere around a card.
Yeah.
So just trading it like a Scry, it's probably like, it's over a card. Like maybe the Surveil makes it more. Maybe it's closer to 2 cards because like you have the ability to put things in your graveyard that you might want there.
Right.
So it's like somewhere, it's more than a card, probably less than 2, but like getting up around 2.
Yeah. Probably not quite 2, and gain 3 life isn't worth anywhere near a card, so.
No.
I was just curious because like destroy target enchantment is worth a card.
Yep.
And counter creature spell is worth a card.
And so like I think the Surveil is, like I said, 1.5.
Yeah. A pretty good fallback at the very least.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of gain 3 life is not worth a card, I was going through some old Cons of Tarkir cards.
Yeah.
I think it was Cons of Tarkir. It was that block. And there was a card that was like 6 in a white or 5 in a white, gain 6, draw a card.
Oof.
And it's like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is so abysmal.
Yeah.
It's like, whew. It's like you forget like that those cards got printed.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I do like this card though. Like a 3/3 flash is probably worth somewhere between 2 and 3 mana, like in today's rate.
Yeah.
So a little bit more than a mana for any of these, I think, is a pretty good rate. And like a 3/3 body isn't nothing, so.
Yeah, like something that might hold it back in your point of like it only countering a creature spell, right? Like the green black decks that are in standard right now. Sometimes mid range decks will like splash blue to have access to like negate, right? And like there's been Pro Tour decks that were like, I'm like red green, I'm going to splash some blue for negate. Well, this doesn't get to be negate.
No, but this could be what you side out for negate.
It could, yeah. But like, just like, is it like the like, hey, I get to splash blue and have a counter spell?
Yeah.
Like this might not cover the bases that you want to cover.
Maybe.
But like you are like you could like, it could be your like in your main deck and then like, okay, I guess like Disdainful Stroke comes in or negate comes in or whatever.
Yeah. Or whatever. Next one, I think, is another one out of Discord. This is Inevitable Defeat. 1 Mardu, so red, white, black. For an instant, this spell can't be countered. Exile target non-land permanent. Its controller loses 3 life, and you gain 3 life. This seems pretty good. I think it's costed a little high for like competitive play.
Yeah,
but I think it's at
Mardu?
rate though. Yeah. More like Crackling Doom.
Yeah, more like Crackling Tomb. Because, like, it's kind of cost... Now, it's more flexible than, like, Vraska's Contempt.
Yeah.
Right? Back when, like,
Oh, that's true.
a 4-mana exile creature or planeswalker,
Yeah.
you lose 2 life? Or you gain... Was it you gain 2
You
life?
gain 2 life.
Right? Like, this is, like... What was that? 7 years ago?
Yeah.
That was, like, a widely played standard card.
Yeah.
I think like this runs into just like the power creep aspect of things,
Mm-hmm.
but it is like way more flexible. Like get their planeswalker. Well, Jurassic Sim got a planeswalker, but get an enchantment, get an artifact.
Yeah.
Like that's good.
Well, again, kind of like we did for the last card. Like, let's break this down a little bit. Lose 3 life, gain 3 life is almost Lightning Helix.
I mean, it is like exactly like Vampire's Kiss.
Sure.
And that's 1 in a black. That's 2 mana.
Yep. So can't be countered. Exile target non-land permanent. Is that worth a card? Is that worth 2 mana?
Void Rend would say it's worth 3 mana.
Right.
So like it's probably undercosted for the things that it does together.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's just if the 4 mana stops it from being like as versatile as you need it to be. Like, you're not going to double spell with this.
You're not going to double spell, and like you have the issue of as long as like mono red is like, as long as there's like a super aggressive deck in the format,
mm-hmm.
right? You might not get to 4.
So you're right, but the counterpoint to that is that this might be like an answer to that though, because it exiles.
Yeah, so you get rid of the things. I think that like
you don't get hit on the back end either.
Yeah, you don't get hit by the things that die and then deal you damage. Yes. There's also like it comes up more like talking about limited as like being up on mana.
Yeah.
And like if you think of like there's mono red, which you are like never up on mana casting this.
Right.
Right. There's Pixie, which you are never up on mana because that deck like tops out at 3, I think.
Right.
You like get to do the thing against oh gosh, like Zur the Enchanter, like the Domain Overlords deck, but they've already gotten their value off of the thing that you got to remove. And then like the green, like this might line up best against like the Golgari deck, where like the gain 3, lose 3 matters a little bit. Like you don't feel bad if you're like kill your Preacher of the Schism.
Yeah.
Like Lightning Helix you.
The again, just to kind of counter a little bit, I know you kind of prefaced that by saying like, you know, this is in the context of limited or whatever, but like it can be okay to trade being up on mana for being up on cards. Like that's kind of like the bread and butter of mid-range decks.
Yeah.
Is you just want to be up on cards at the end of the day. It's okay if you sacrifice, you know, a mana or 2 here or there, as long as you end up with something left and your opponent has nothing left, you're fine. And like specifically with like mono red, it provided you can live long enough, you know, this might take care of 3 or 4 cards.
Yeah, because the 3 damage. The gain 3 is worth at least a card.
Right. And if they had, you know, a Monstrous Rage and something else on their nerd, then like you could very well end up 2 or 3 cards because of this 1 card. And depending on the build of your deck, like against Pixie, like they might have dead cards in their hand because you're light on creatures. Which would also, you know, kind of work in your favor. It might be okay to be down on mana because like at the end of the day you're up on cards.
Fair. Random thing. So in the art, that's Zurgo?
I think it's supposed to be Zurgo.
From this angle, he looks a whole lot like Kratos.
Sure.
Looks a lot like Kratos.
Is Kratos' back that hairy though?
Is that hair?
I think so.
I I just looked like the red on Kratos. I didn't know it was Fuzzy Zergo.
Yeah, I think it's back hair. He's got the
Gotcha.
lung sweaters.
On his back.
Yep.
Kidney warmers.
Yep.
All right. Frontline Rush.
Sure. What do we got here?
Red, white for an instant. Choose one. Make 2 1/1 red goblin creature tokens. Or target creature gets +X until the end of turn, where X is the number of creatures you control.
Mm-hmm.
For like the Convoke deck,
mm-hmm.
right? Like, this is, again, harder to cast. Either raise the alarm, or what is the current like uncommon creature? Heroic intervention, not heroic reinforcements, heroic intervention. The 1 and a white 1/1 that ATBs and makes 1/1 token.
Oh yeah.
It's just raise the alarm but creature form.
Right. Yeah. I don't
So this is raise the alarm or that card.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You're already red white. And this gives you the out of attack and gives something like +6/+6.
Yeah, it makes your wide very tall.
Yes. Very, like, out of nowhere.
Yep.
So like in the early game, it gets to be your two bodies that you need.
Yep.
And then in the late game, it gets to just be kill you.
I don't know if your experience has been any different, but this card's kind of been insane and limited.
I think I've lost to it once or twice where like I've gotten the whole like +5/+5 thing, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like the fact that it has the like the out of just like win a combat or like win the game.
Right.
So like if those red white Convoke decks stay around, like this feels like a better 2-drop than almost anything else they have.
Yeah.
Like the only way it could be better for the Convoke decks if they were like artifact goblins, if they were robo goblins, so
right.
like you could feed so you could like feed them to the 1 mana red card.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only way it could be better.
So I've seen a couple deck lists floating around for the oh shoot, what's it called? The sword? Curie.
Oh yeah, the
Curie
Steel Cutter.
Yeah, that's it. Like this card might be all right in that deck too, because it's non-creature spell. It can either go wide or pump, and those are both things that deck wants to do.
Apparently, the Curie Steel Cutter is showing up in Modern.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird because like you look at Curie Steel Cutter, and yes, like when you cast your 2 spells, it gives you effectively a 2/2 with haste and trample. But like Curie Steel Cutter feels like it's like a pyromancer that you have to do like more work to get your token.
Yeah.
Like your token is admittedly a better token, but it's just like you look at it and you're like, but Pyromancer's been doing this since like M14. And Pyromancer got like set aside like a little pat on the head, and it's like, here's the blue white red one that makes artifact tokens.
Yeah.
And it got like a little tap on the head, and it's like, you've had a good run for like 2 years. Here's this thing that like that was all the rage. Like there was an Andrea Mangucci tweet that was like, oh, this was super easy with my Curie Steel Cutter. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
Neat. Like I'm wondering like if like blue red like Phoenix is just like, it's, you know, okay, I'll play Curie Steel Cutter and I have this like backup like engine.
Yeah, maybe. The like I think what kind of sets that card apart from Pyromancer though is the Nerds at Prowess.
Yeah, I mean it is a way better token.
Yeah.
Admittedly. But like you've got to do like cast 2 spells to get your first token.
Yeah.
Where like Pyromancer you get to like crank out, you get to like, you know, hey, I'm going to cast 3 spells on turn 3.
Yeah.
I have 3 1/1s. But I guess these tokens scale much harder.
Yeah. Well, they scale with each other in a way that like Pyromancer tokens don't either. Because
yeah,
like with a card like that, you kind of want to set your engine up. So after you do your first one, like when you're ready to make your next one, you're also making your first one bigger.
Yeah. So yeah, but it is it has been a good card from what I have seen on the interwebs.
Yep. So it was kind of two for one here with Frontline
A
Rush.
two for one, yeah.
Frontline Rush and Furry Steel Cutter.
Yeah.
Next one is another uncommon here. This is Kiru Goldkeeper. 1 Sultai, so black, green, blue. It's a 3/3 dragon, and whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard during your turn, create a treasure token. And it also has Renew for 2 in Sultai. Exile this card from your graveyard, put 2 +1/+1 counters and a flying counter on target creature. Activate only as a sorcery.
So you would think normally the whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard during your turn, create a treasure, would be gated to once a turn.
Yeah.
And it's not.
It's not.
So it's just like, what things can you like loop that you can like generate
a bunch of mana?
A bunch of mana. I don't think there are any like free discard outlets in like Pioneer. I mean, I guess there's the weird like equipment, or, like discard a card, because like you could like set something up where you like get where you have what is he called? The 4/2 that when Overchase Daredevil. Let's say you like have this out. You play the equipment.
Yeah.
It triggers oval chase, and then when it comes out of your graveyard into your hand, a trigger goes on the stack to make the treasure.
Right.
Then you discard it to the equipment to attach it to the Goldkeeper.
Yep.
Then the trigger was oh no, you can't do that because you can't equip at instant speed. But if you have like a way to like instant speed discard,
or if you had two,
you just like you get the trigger on the stack. Yeah, you only need the one though, because when it comes out of your graveyard, the trigger goes on to make the treasure. So then you throw it back in your graveyard with your discard outlet.
Yeah.
Let the treasure trigger resolve.
Yeah.
Then the thing comes back to your hand. Another trigger goes on the stack, so you can loop that.
Is there a 1 mana loot where you could use the treasure to loot at instant speed to put it in your yard?
Oh, just like and just kind of like go through your whole deck.
Yeah, draw your deck.
Maybe.
There is a guy in Standard that like pings when an artifact dies, right? Like that's another way to kill.
Let's see here. Scryfall.
That actually kind of sounds like a fun deck. And it could be in a Roots shell.
And that, so you're making all these plants too?
Yeah.
So discard, draw, and then sure. There are gonna be too many of these for me to look at. Yeah, but like 1 mana, like discard, draw, or draw, discard.
Yeah.
There's gotta be where you don't tap it. Like they've had to have made something like that.
It
right?
definitely seems like a card that should exist. Yeah.
Yeah. So. But yeah, like, but you just have to get it started, and you just like in response, just keep feeding it back to the graveyard.
Yeah.
So yeah, so now
maybe we should brew that deck for an episode.
Yeah, listeners, you have homework. Find the like 1 mana instance, either the 1 mana loot or the like free discard outlet. Because like in Modern, you have the 2 mana guy that's like the Madness Enabler.
Yeah.
In Legacy, you have Putrid Imp and him. But I don't know if there's just like a like discard, like 1 mana discard draw. But yeah, I hadn't thought like, so there is a tap 1 Dismissive Pyromancer. But that's from 2019. That was a different time.
Right. There's got to be a better one by now.
Yes. I don't. Maybe it's a thing where they're like, okay, there's just some things we can't do.
Yeah, maybe that's one of them.
But maybe that's one of them. But I don't know. They have not really demonstrated much restraint in the last few years.
Yep.
So, There's a 2-mana one. Now we just need to put Proving Grounds in, and then like we have our, and that card is red, so no problem with our mana here.
Right. Yeah. 4 colors, no biggie.
4 colors, no problem. No fetch lands in standard. We're doing it. Yeah, maybe we could find something, but like, there is like some way to like kind of loop that. Well, it could have to be Pioneer because of Oval Chase Daredevil.
Yeah.
But like to just like loop and go through, like some way, either with roots or like I said, when an artifact dies, do a thing, like ping or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so we'll have to figure this out.
Yep.
But like once you get the first one, as long as you have a way to keep putting it back in, you just can loop them infinitely.
Yeah.
Which is weird that it's like not that hard to do, and like and it's one of those things that like they are going to print like just a random like, oh well, discard a card for free card or something. Yeah. Oh, what about? Oh gosh, wasn't there one where you could discard a card and give it flying? Like one of there was a vampire that you could discard and transform.
Yeah, I think there was Olivia's Dragoon. Is that a card?
Olivia, yes, I think that might be it. We're in the ends right now. If the answer was in the ends, I have skipped it because we are going to Olivia's Dragoon.
Yeah. Discard a card. This creature gains flying until end of turn.
There you go. There's your free discard outlet.
Yep, and it is legal in Pioneer.
There you go. So you can just go.
It was in Shadows.
Oh.
I'm sorry. It was in Eldritch Moon.
Yes, and then there's Quicksmith. I guess it doesn't work.
We also had was it Noose Constrictor?
Oh yeah, Noose.
Yeah, Noose Constrictor.
The Noose is loose, and it gets like bigger, right?
+1/+1 till end of turn.
So like, you could in theory like instant speed kill someone if you had like a way to get the first artifact.
Yep.
Like attack, do nonsense, win game.
Yep.
Like some like instant speed way to make an artifact, like deduce.
Mm-hmm.
You're just like deduce, make my clue, trigger this.
Yep.
Loop.
Well, let us know what you guys think. If you want us to brew that deck for an episode, hit us up.
We done come up with something interesting.
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting. Sounds like fun at least.
Yeah, so like there is a way that you can like
and cheap. At least like all of those cards are commons or uncommons.
Yeah, and like Noose Constrictor is like green.
Yep.
A plus.
Dragoon is black.
So like it actually is in the colors, no like nonsense red cards.
Yeah.
And then there's like again like Sky Swimmer, Koi, like these are awkward. Whenever artifact enters the battlefield under you control, you may draw a card and then discard. Like that kind of messes up the order. But yeah. So there you go. So just the fact that it's not gated and it feels like there are some shenanigans you can get up to.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if they're good shenanigans, but
shenanigans.
Sure.
All right. What's this next one here?
This is Runescale Stormbrood. 3 and a red for a 2/4 with flying. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell or a dragon spell, this creature gets +2/+0 till end of turn. And it has an Omen. Chilling Screech for 1 and a blue. Counter target spell with mana value 2 or less.
Yeah.
I think I didn't write it down, but I think this was one out of Discord.
Perhaps.
I think the card seems fine. It's a little underpowered for like what you'd want out of a dragon, but if you don't have a great way to ramp into your dragons, the Omen is potentially a way to let you get to your dragons.
I'm looking for. Yeah, it is We Dragonauts. It's a slightly bigger We Dragonauts.
Well, We Dragonauts doesn't let you counter a spell though.
It doesn't, but like We Dragonauts is a card that has like been played before.
Yeah,
right? Like,
I mean it's been a while since We Dragonauts was playable, but
fair. But like the text is not like nothing
Mm-hmm.
on like, but like you said, the fact that you have a 4-drop that is sometimes just like counter your 2-drop. Like I have definitely played games of limited
Mm-hmm.
where like I'm like, well, if they like play any of the exhales,
Yeah.
I have it covered. So like I can attack and know that like they can't kill my thing because I have
Yeah.
the chilling screech up.
Yep.
Like I think this could have been like standard playable if it tagged a thing mana value 3 or less. I mean, just get a little bit more.
Yeah. Or if it was statted differently, or like a mana cheaper for the dragon. I feel like the dragon side isn't good enough.
Yeah.
It's like just not
Yeah.
good enough.
Yeah, if it were a 3/4 maybe?
Yeah, or like a 3/3 for 3.
Yeah.
Or I mean even a 2/3 for 3 and like still maintain the like super prowess or whatever.
Yeah. Where it's basically like or if it were just like we Dragonauts as a 1/3
Yeah.
for 3, like I don't know, like maybe 2/3 is
Yeah.
like
A little too good.
more. But again, like we Dragonauts was last printed in like Ravnica Allegiance.
Yeah.
So like the like a 2/3 for 3 now is probably like what I guess like perhaps weird Dragonauts or like big Dragonauts would be
Yeah.
costed at now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just seems a little not good enough on both sides.
Yeah.
And like I said, the evaluation of these is like very different than the evaluation of
Adventures.
adventures because like you don't get 2 cards for one.
Right.
You just get the 1 card and a chance to draw it again.
Mm-hmm. Well,
So,
like that's not nothing either, though.
it's not.
Like you're not making a hard decision that, oh, I've only got 2 copies of this left in my deck, and if I need one later, I'm not going to find it. Like, no, you'll find it again eventually if the game goes long enough.
Yeah.
All right, and we got one more dragon to talk about here. This is a Twin Maw Storm Brood. 5 and a white for a 5/4 flyer. When it ETBs, you gain 5 life. It's a dragon. And it has an omen, Charring Bite. 1 and a red for a sorcery. It deals 5 damage to target creature without flying.
So it's Charring Bite is exactly roast.
Yep.
That can't be duressed.
True.
And that if your opponent doesn't have a thing for you to roast, gets to be a 5/4 if you have white mana in your deck.
Yep.
So like that like red white cycling deck. If I wanted to put roast in because I'm like, oh, I need a way to kill Shieldred.
Yep.
Right. This just is a better roast.
Yeah, it
right?
really
It's
is.
the exact same text, but then if I flood out and I draw it in the late game and my opponent has no creatures, I just get to play a 5/4.
Yep.
That they have to have a removal spell for because it's a 5/4 flyer.
Right, gonna end the game quickly.
And like against like I thought about this, like I was like, well, if I'm playing against like an aggressive deck, like it's not instant speed, which is fine. Like I can't have everything.
Yeah.
But like it still kills like everything in the aggressive decks.
Right. And if
And
you get
then-
to 6 mana, it gains you 5 life, so you're
Yeah. And then like late in the game, it's just like, I somehow made it to 6 mana. Here you go. I'll go back up to 8. Like now you have to kill me from 8 through a 5/4.
Yeah.
So, like this is just one of those cards that like if your deck wanted roast, it probably you should probably just play this instead.
Yep.
So, not that there's a ton of decks that wanted roast, but there was a time in the last 2 years where like roast was in Pioneer sideboard specifically to kill Shieldred.
Yep.
And this just feels like a roastier roast.
Roastier roast. Roast that brings the dragon to do the roasting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. All right, that is it for multicolor. Let's knock out these couple colorless cards here.
Okay.
I think you've talked about both of these at the very least in our unshow over the last couple weeks.
Yes.
So go ahead.
As I'm trying to buy a Mox Jasper too.
Yep.
So Mox Jasper, 0 mana for a Mox is a legendary artifact. Tap, add 1 mana of any color. Activate only if you control a dragon. There are a ton of changelings that cost 1 mana that are floating around Modern.
Yep.
So they turn on Mox Jasper.
Then we're going back to Lorwyn at some point.
And we have a bunch of like 2 mana changelings from
Kaldheim. Yep.
So like there might be enough changelings that this gets to be a Mox enough of the time. And like any Mox that has like got to be a Mox,
right,
a reasonable amount of time has been good.
Yep. I don't remember exactly what decks it was played in, but like Changeling Outcast, like non-ironically saw play at points.
So, it's an enabler for ninjas because it can't be blocked.
Oh yeah.
And
so we just need some ninja dragons, some dragon jutsu.
Dragon jutsu. There you go. Some Naruto dragons. Yeah, there you go. But there's also there was that like 4 white or 6 white like 3/3 double striker that cost 1 less for each creature type among creatures you control.
Oh yeah.
Right. So there was like a brief time in like maybe it was like Legacy for like 2 weeks where people were messing around with like changeling outcast or
there's an artifact one also.
There's an artifact. There's like 4 of them.
Yeah.
There's Universal Automaton.
Yeah, that's the artifact.
Isn't there like a blue one that like gives like flying? It's like a 1/1.
Maybe.
Moth Dust Changeling, I do believe. So like there's a number of them that like you could see like, okay, well this puts me ahead on mana. And if I like, so they're not good enough, but it doesn't take much for them to like, I don't know, print like a 1 mana legendary changeling in like Lorwyn that is good.
Yeah, there was also in AFR there was like dragon people that count as dragons. Some of them were halfway decent and like costed competitively.
Yeah. So they're dragon people.
Dragonkin, whatever they were.
Yeah. But I think that Mox Jasper like is kind of on that edge of if there are enough, more than likely like cheap changelings that become like relevant.
Yeah.
Then this becomes like a card that could see play, because I think design has changed. But when Mox Amber first came out, people were like, well, this isn't any good.
Right.
And then like it became like a $60 card that is like the backbone of like some decks. Right? Like part of the reason Tameo Inquisitive Student gets played is because it turns on Mox Amber.
So how many legends do we need to play for Mox Amber?
But the Underworld Breach deck played 8 total. 4 Tameo, 4 Emery. Now, they cared about the fact that Mox Amber was an artifact because it helped turn on Mox Opal.
Yeah.
But they played like 8. So if there are like, enough non-embarrassing changelings.
Yeah, I was just curious how many quote dragons we have to have in a deck to make like Mox Jasper okay.
Probably like 8 to 12, but caveat like if it also might be doing something else. If you care about artifacts in some other way, or casting 0 mana spells or something. So, yeah, but just like it's currently a $25 Mox that like I'll have to look. I don't think it's doing anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just hype.
Yeah, so like maybe it comes down.
It's also
And then you're
awkward
like-
because like it doesn't ramp you into your first dragon, so you can't
No.
like just play it with big dragons. You have to play it with some cheap ones. Wasn't
Yeah,
there like a
and
3-mana one from one of the core sets, Gadek or Garak or
oh yeah, that
Garduk?
can't like it.
Garduk?
It's a 5/4 that can't attack unless you control a certain number of artifacts, I think.
Yeah, and it makes treasures when things die.
Yeah.
Like that turns this on, and this counts towards turning it on.
Mhm.
Turning it on.
So, not that. Let me turn off Commander. So there are.
That got me thinking.
So just looking at, I just went to Goldfish and looked at this card.
Yeah.
And I did search for the right thing, right? Yeah. If you remove Commander,
Yeah.
there are no decks that actually have it, because there's a mono blue Rona combo deck listed, but it plays Mox Amber, not Mox Jasper. And then there's a Tiamat Brawl deck, but every deck that plays it is a Commander deck, which might not bode well for its its price going down long term.
Yeah.
But if you only need one, that's way different than needing 4. So maybe the price creeps down a little bit.
I only see 2 from AFR that are like what I would consider costed close enough to consider. It's a Dragon Turtle.
Oh yeah, the Flash guy.
Yeah. Or Nadar.
Nadar, the 2 and a weight 3/3
The
venture into a
adventure
dungeon
guy, yeah. Or the dungeon, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so there aren't like a ton.
Yeah.
But it feels like something to like, if it gets like cheap, like it feels like something to like keep an eye on.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Mox
Because,
Amber's
like,
got cheap.
They did. Like, they got cheap because no one was doing anything with them.
Yep.
So it really only takes like where's like the Dominaria ones? Dear God. Why do I still have mine? They're $96.
Wow.
Oh, that's the foil. Sorry, the regular ones are $57. But like, if we look back, when did they come out?
They were $9 in July of 19. They were $7 in January of 19.
Yeah, so like, I don't know. Maybe we are smarter than we were as like a group before.
Yeah.
That maybe like Mox Jasper won't get to that point.
Yeah.
But like, if it's not doing anything, if it's just Commander, not to say that Commander can't hold the price, but if it's just Commander, maybe it doesn't hold its price at $25.
Yeah. Like, I think this is even a weird spot for Commander because it really only fits in Dragon decks.
Basically, the Dragon and Tiamat.
Yeah, it's not like generic to Commander as a format where a lot of other cards are.
Or even like Mox Amber is generic to Commander as a format on some level.
Yeah, well, that's
Right,
what I
like,
mean. This is a little bit different than that.
Yeah, so like, I don't know how much of it is like hype right now and then might like kind of come down over, because like it's leveled out, but the set's only been out for like 2 weeks, which is kind of wild.
Yeah.
Or well, like maybe the card's only been known about for 2 weeks. Yeah, because it was. Wait, let me look at tabletop. Look at MTGO. Oh, it's just been on like, gosh, it started out at $100 in March, and then when the set came out like early April.
Wow.
And yeah, they were $42 April 6th, and now they've gone to $22. And they're still trending down, but slowly.
Yeah. So we talked about the card for a minute. Can we talk about the card for a minute?
Sure.
So the artwork here. Nothing against Steve Belladin.
Mm-hmm.
But like Moxes have always had like two things. It was either the hands and it was Volkenbaga, or it was the swirly art and it was Mr. Pool?
Maybe.
Like this is neither of those things. There's no swirly art and like the hands aren't right.
Where are the hands not right?
Because Volkenbaga didn't draw them.
Fair.
And like for some reason Charizard's like trapped in it.
I mean, Charizard is a dragon type.
It is.
I think.
Yeah.
Or he's at least a dragon.
I think we're crossing the streams though.
Yeah, I don't want to say he's a dragon type and then get like jumped by some Pokemon person.
Yeah.
He's not a dragon type.
It's a fire type.
He's a fire type. No, your typings.
Yeah.
No. It did not super matter in Pokemon Go, so no.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, the hands are reasonably drawn.
Yeah, I mean, at least like he
that's
didn't phone it in and let AI draw him with like extra fingers and stuff. Which is about what I expect from wizards nowadays.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, wait till we get the Marvel cards that are universes with in that are only digital. How can we make these cheap? Mid-Journey.
That's right.
Let's
Fire
go.
up Dolly.
Feed it a bunch of magic cards and be like, okay, you know the drill.
Yep, ready to go.
All right.
One more colorless card here.
One more.
This is Ugin, Eye of the Storms. 7 mana, 7 loyalty. When you cast this spell, exile up to one target permanent that's one or more colors, which is just Scour from Existence, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever you cast a colorless spell, exile up to one target permanent that's one or more colors. So every colorless spell after then is also a Scour from Existence. And it has +2, gain 3 life, and draw a card. 0 is add triple Wingding. And -11, search your library for any number of colorless non-land cards. Exile them, then shuffle until end of turn. You may cast those cards without paying their mana costs.
Yes. All these things are true.
Yep.
So the fact that it's a trigger that makes it kind of uncounterable.
Mm-hmm.
Good. It costs 7 mana, which happens to be exactly how much you make when you have Tron.
Exactly.
And the fact that you get to 0, make 3 mana, and like, you know, maybe play like a star and exile a thing, and like play a map and exile a thing. Right? Like, it's not out of the realm of possibility that your turn 3 in like modern Tron could be exile, resolve Ugin, exile 4 permanents.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good.
It's pretty decent.
Now, the downside is that it gets tagged by consigned memory in modern, which is a problem.
Yep.
I guess another plus is it fits comfortably under Ugin's sanctum.
It's true.
It's Ugin's house. He likes it there. But having to have this in limited, like, you kind of get a free minus when you cast Ugin, right? Like, you get, like, exile a permanent that's one or more colors is probably a -3.
Yeah.
Right, so you get, like, a free minus. But then, like, if you don't have a bunch of colorless cards in your deck, like, Ugin doesn't, like, win you the game in the classic sense that you think of, like, Planeswalkers winning you the game.
Right.
Right? Like, you're going to win a game because you, like, draw a card and gain 3 life. But, like,
typically a 7 mana Planeswalker is going to come down and, like, change the course of the game and protect itself and be something that your opponent, like, has to get rid of right away. And this isn't that.
Yeah, which is, like, weird. Because, like, I've resolved it. Like, exile the thing. It's like, okay, this is a 7 mana removal spell that, like, drew me a card. Fine. But, like, you're, like, plussing and you're like, I like getting the card in the life, but I don't feel like I'm getting, like, that far ahead. Maybe my deck was just bad. We've had a few of those. But, like, you know what I mean? It just didn't feel like as, like, oomphy as, like, Ugin the Spirit Dragon, where you were like, it was 8 mana, you resolved it, and you were just like, wrath the board.
Yeah.
Okay. And now I have like this lightning bolt that just keeps me safe.
Yeah.
For the rest of the game.
And you also had like a Wrath on deck for if things got out of hand.
Exactly. Like, oh, you played 2 things? Okay. Whoosh.
Yeah.
Take care of it again. So, yeah, it just feels like it's really good. Don't get me wrong. But, like, it doesn't feel like as, like, run away with a game as you would think it would.
Yeah. All right. So I think we talked about basically what everybody else thought when they saw Ugin.
Okay.
Are you ready for something completely different out of left field?
Give me something completely different out of left field.
Nissa.
Which Nissa?
Nissa Who Shakes the World.
Okay.
Is a ramp card in Pioneer, not Modern.
Mm-hmm.
That lets you ramp into this.
Indeed.
We also recently got Doubling Season.
Okay.
Which lets Nissa ult the turn it comes in.
So get all the lands.
And lets this ult the turn it comes in.
Okay.
How can we win the game? By ulting Ugin on turn 5.
You get to cast those cards.
Right.
So
well, you're in green. You're not going to play Nissa on 5. You're going to play it on 4 probably, and then play your.
Well, no. My point was because you get to cast them, you get all the Eldrazi triggers.
That's true. Yeah, you just get to blow up everything.
So you're like Ulamog and Emrakul.
Oh yeah, just straight up Ulamog. Yeah, I guess that works.
Yeah, like. You only in theory have to play one Ulamog and one Emrakul.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking
Ugin
of that. I wasn't even thinking of that. I was thinking like some kind of weird artifact combo with like Paradox Engine or something. But no, that's way easier. Nope. You're right.
Like, and if you played multiple Ugins, you could just go get.
Oh yeah.
Or not multiple Ugins, multiple like Ulamogs. You're just like, I'll get those 2 lands. And those 2 lands, womp womp, legend rule, oh no. And then I'll play my Emrakul, and your go.
Yep.
And, your go, I mean my go.
My go?
And then
I'll be taking that turn.
We'll be taking that turn. We will not be playing a land. Good luck beating me with my 23 power and your 1 land.
Yep.
And I still have my Ugin.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Good luck.
So I think that's what you could do. Like I messed around with it for a while. It was in like Historic when that was a thing. I don't know if there's like an analog for it in Pioneer. But remember there was a Forsaken Monument deck where you like played like the 2 mana rocks, and now we don't have the 2 mana rocks really. But like where you're just playing a bunch of colorless stuff.
Yeah.
Like this is a heck of a thing to like.
Yeah, it definitely
get out like early.
Yep.
So, I don't think there can be something like there's not enough like, just kind of like a colorless commander deck. There's not enough like colorless stuff.
Yeah.
That is good, and like the thing that made that deck good was like Mind Stone.
Right. Which we don't have.
And like. We don't have, because like Mind Stone, Hedron Archive into like Forsaken Monument and then like go nuts.
Yeah.
Is one thing, but like if you're like turn 1, nothing, turn 2, nothing, turn 3, C plus mana rock.
Yeah.
Like you are probably already dead.
Yep.
So. But yeah. I like the like ramping him out and then like just doing the doubling, like not even Doubling Season. Oh, what is the name of that card? Innkeeper's Talent. Right, the 4th level or 3rd level on Innkeeper's Talent is double the number of counters.
Oh yeah.
So like there was that Veraska deck that like you played Veraska and then you just ulted and like you put your opponent to like 9 poison.
Yeah.
So like. Like that's even in standard. Like you could just like doubling season your Ugin. Now there's nothing like there's not a ton of like colorless things to go get in standard that you're like,
Right.
yeah, buddy, we got him now.
I was
But
trying to think of Pioneer.
yeah, yeah. Sorry, I took the fun out of it. Of
No,
just
that's all
get
right.
to Eldrazi.
Yeah, no,
the
that's
game.
way more efficient than whatever shenanigans I was going to come up with.
But shenanigans are fun.
Yep.
Let's see here. What are the colorless cards in standard? We're gonna get a bunch of lands, but oh goodness. Phyrexian Fleshgorger. We always come back to that card,
Oh yeah.
or at least I do, as like a thing you can play early or a thing you can like play later on.
Mm-hmm. It's not colorless though, isn't it? Black.
It's black.
Oh, it's black if you prototype
when it's 3
it.
mana.
Yeah.
It's colorless when you don't.
Yep.
It's super straightforward. Like I don't know how it could be Cityscape Leveler.
Yeah, that's a big thing to go get. Phyrexian Portal.
Oh yeah, Portal of Phyrexia. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, like there are enough things that you can get to Ugin and get a quick alt or, you know, the thing.
What's a
talent?
Power Stone shard? Would that cast Ugin?
It would. Like it,
Oh,
it
that's
just
not the
makes
one I was-
colorless.
That's not the one I was thinking of. What's the token one?
With Kicker, you make 2 of them or you make 3 of them.
No, well, like the from Dominaria, like it makes the Power Stone token.
There's the spider, Thran Spider, the 2/4 that makes a Power Stone. I think Power Stones only cast artifacts though.
That's what I was trying to get the answer to. I couldn't remember what the Power Stone tokens made, whether it was non-colored spells or artifacts or whatever. Yeah, it's
there's like Power Stone Shard, which
Yeah.
is the 3 mana thing that makes mana for each equal to the number of Power Stone shards. But yeah, that's maybe like a D plus mana rock.
Was not the one.
Yeah.
I didn't know if like the card that made Power Stones would let you ramp out Ugin, but it won't because it's just artifacts.
No, it's just artifacts. Yeah, I don't know if there's like. I guess like the Iron Crag is the only 2 mana rock, and it's legendary, so you can't like stack them up. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, like some way to like some doubling seasoning kind of thing.
Yeah. The Iron Crag feat also just lets you cast this, right?
It does. It's just make it colorless.
Yep.
But I think that's the only like 2 mana rock that we have.
Yeah.
Like so close. All right. So we have to make a decision. We are over an hour in.
We are. I think we call it, and the cycles won't take long next week, and we can get into maybe talking about your other idea.
Ooh, okay.
And then maybe that'll give our community out there some time to percolate on our deck idea.
Yeah, give them a couple weeks to think about like what are the free discard outlets that we could like go infinite with.
Yeah.
All right. So with that, I think we got a show.
We got a show.
If you have ideas for our Kuru Goldkeeper deck, let us know. Facebook, Discord, Twitter, I guess X, Blue Sky, email, all those places. Come build our deck for us.
Yeah, help us out. Give us some pointers.
Yes, please.
If you're looking to support the show, there's 2 ways you can do it. The first is our TCG player affiliate link, CasualTryHard.com/TCG. Surf on over there, do your shopping, and support the show at the same time. The second is through our Patreon, patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG, where you will get access to my show notes, so you get kind of a sneak peek about what the episode's going to be about, and you also get access to our unshow, about another hour of unscripted, unedited content out of us every week. If either of those sound good, or if you, like I said, you just want to support the show, patreon.com/CasualTryHardMTG. chip a couple bucks in, help us out.
Yep. So with that, we'll catch you on the internet.
We'll catch you on the internets.